Yeah, mindset ready. Check 1, 2, go big or go home. Best believe becoming heavy. It's all or nothing, no bluffing. This the all in one, so get ready for what's coming now. All in one, yeah. All in one, yeah. All in one, yeah. 3, 2, 1. This the all in one coming now. This the all in one coming now. All in one coming now.
What's up, my people? Welcome back to episode 3 of the All in One podcast. We're so blessed to have you with us. Look, at the end of the day, a lot of people always ask for support. They always ask for feedback. And it could be a multitude of reasons that people don't do that, but we don't have that problem.
That's right.
You know, we've been trying to develop ideas on what to do for the next episode. People have even inquired, you know, to be interviewed on certain topics. Mm-hmm. And we're so blessed to be in a position that people feel at home here with the All-in-One podcast.
That's right.
I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We are so appreciative. We've talked about this. We talk every single day.
Absolutely.
And we probably talk more about the people than we talk about ourselves when it comes to the All-in-One podcast, because as you hear in other episodes, our vision is to be a voice for the people that can't speak, that don't know how to speak, and for the people that don't know how to understand the people that are speaking.
Absolutely. And we're just grateful that, you know, for the people who I've been we've been in contact with, you know, hitting us up in our messages and just really giving us great feedback. And we're just asking you guys to just continue showing love. You know, like, comment, share, subscribe, share it with those who may need the who need to hear these messages. And we're just trying to literally vent our hearts out, and we're just grateful for everything that's going on. You know, this stuff, like we said, isn't easy, but, you know, as long as we continue to, you know, remain rooted and founded on God, you know, God's going to continue to bless us, so that way he can use us and flow through us so we could be an impact to those around us as well. So thank you guys for really tuning in and really, you know, giving us your feedback. We love you guys very much. Definitely.
Absolutely. So let's dive right into it, man. let's get raw with it, right?
I'm excited.
You know what I'm saying? So I talk to this guy every day, like I said. It's my brother. It's my blood. If I had to die 3 times over for him, that's no question.
Vice versa, yes.
I hope it was for a good reason, though. If you're going to put me in a situation, you better make sure it's
solid. Yeah, don't worry.
I'm showing up regardless, though.
And they're going to be up for over a bag of chips, you know what I'm saying?
There's going to be a little muscle involved, you know what I mean?
Like, yo, this dude stole my components, yo.
Where the components you know what I mean? And we were talking about these ideas and these references and options that we could talk about for the next episode. And I thought he was being sarcastic, right? I thought we were just having a regular conversation of what to talk about and where to go with it. And he mentioned something that kind of I didn't take for granted. Mm-hmm. It just could have been dark humor, maybe.
Yeah.
And then as I listened more, I realized, oh shoot, like he's really talking about himself. Mm-hmm. So I'm driving, right? I wasn't talking to driving. It was on Bluetooth.
No texting.
And I said, wait, what? What did you just say? He's like, yeah, you know, did I never tell you this? And I realized this is what God called us to, this specific topic at that moment, because before you know it, life goes on.
That's right.
You've been doing things your own way for so long. You have been blessed and graced with opportunities to overcome certain things and also block certain things. Mm-hmm. And that's where I kind of want to start, man, with the blockage of memories, and something that I think the people need to hear, and you could be a voice for these people that that haven't said anything yet.
Yeah, of course. It was crazy because I did catch him off guard. You didn't think that at all. So, one thing that I've kept within my, and we're gonna get into this topic today. I want to bring it out there. Childhood traumas, right? We're gonna get deep into that. But one thing that I, openly admitted to my brother here was that, I did get molested when I was a child. You know what I'm saying? And it was a shocker, right? How did that work for me, right? And growing up as a child, it took away my purity as to seeing things in a different light. I wasn't no longer seeing things as a child, right? I'm seeing things in a corruption manner. And it wasn't easy because I tried my best to grow, fighting with my identity as a kid, and not knowing what to expect in life. And then I come to understanding that as I grew and grew and grew, finding God more, growing up in a Christian background and growing up in church, and I had to understand that, like, I can't be thinking the way purity was stolen from me. I didn't want that. Obviously, I didn't expect that to be stolen from me, right? But I had to come to a point where accepting that I am God's and I know who I am in Him. It made me see things, looking at my nieces and my nephews and my godchildren, like I want to protect them. And ultimately, what God was ultimately doing was protecting us, but it got robbed from us. And we made that decision.
How long do you think it took for you to get over? So, like, when did that happen? What age?
I believe I was around like age 5. 5.
And so, how long from the age of 5 did it take for you to realize that you were called for more than just deception, confusion, anger, sadness?
I want to say about when I was like 13, 14, I was at that point where, like, I got to get over this. Like, I have to accept the fact that I have to let it out some way, somehow. And I didn't until I was about, I want to say about 17. I told my first person, and it was a close friend of mine at the time, and I opened that up and that moment, and I cried. I had no choice because I'm like, finally I can actually say something, because I was embarrassed, right? And I didn't know who to talk to, even though I did have parents. Like, what am I going to tell my parents? You get what I'm saying? Like, well, how am I going to tell them that their child, was molested? You get what I'm saying? And it just generated fear. And I came to that point in understanding where if I could, be honest here and accept God in my life and know that I've overcame that, I could move forward in the rest of my life.
You thought it was your fault?
Thought it was my fault. Absolutely. I thought it was my fault.
Which is something that I think I hear commonly with people that go through that type of abuse, that specific category of abuse. Mm-hmm. And you almost feel like, based on what I've been told, is nobody's going to believe you. Mm-hmm. What's that like? Like, I can't relate to that topic. What is not feeling like you can be related to, like, between the ages of 5 and 14, when you have people that are there, mm-hmm. And respecting you enough, I don't think it's fair to go into who it was and why.
No, yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? But what is that like? Like a loss of identity for almost a decade.
Yeah, exactly. I can honestly say that for that moment in time, I feared to just I feared that I was gonna be like, what did you do? You right? Like pointed at. And it was like I said, it was more shame and embarrassment because growing up in a Christian household wasn't the most easiest thing for me because though we were in a Christian household, like everyone served God, it didn't feel like a Christian household, right? So how can I see constant, fighting and I see constant yelling at each other. It felt like I was imprisoned in my own, in my own thoughts about it. And I didn't want to share that because if people are coming at each other's throats growing up, like just constantly fighting, constantly yelling, how can I be a voice and say, yo, this happened to me, and feeling like I have nothing else to tell you but this happened to me. And I didn't know the reactions I was going to get, which brought me to the point where when I truly finally, moved to Florida and actually accepted God, that's when like, you know what? I don't got to tell anybody. I could just talk to God and actually have him relieve me of this. Because if I relied on man, one thing I can say that someone told me was like, for the people that I thought I could trust, those were the same very people that were hurting me. I thought I could trust these people, but they continued to hurt me. So how could I feel like I could trust people when all I was doing was being hurt? And that happened and carried out throughout the years for me. And I just felt like I didn't have a voice, throughout those years because I was fearing that.
Do you think that you got full healing at 17, or did you still struggle all the way up to current age? Because remember I brought up blockage, like
Yeah.
me and you are so close.
Yeah, exactly.
And I hold no bars against
Of course.
right? But it brings to the forefront how quick we can push something to the back, even though we love the things that we're around or in front.
Mm-hmm.
And we probably do that to protect them. We do that to protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a multitude of reasons, but obviously at 14, you're like, yo, I gotta let this go.
Yeah.
Was it really healed at that time? Or how long did it take after that awareness?
Yeah.
With the work,
yeah,
and accountability, and the mistakes, and the regret, and then the shame, and then the truth, and then the repeat cycle,
yeah,
right? Like when did it really hit? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that deal with the cycles, and they'll deal with them in unhealthy ways, because no one told them that yo, it's normal to literally not know what is happening.
That's right.
When did it actually do a breakthrough for you? And obviously every day we got to take up our cross, you know what I'm saying? We got to die daily. When did it really hit?
I think everything, like going back even to, the testimony, how we got here to Florida, for me, I think when I stepped foot in Florida, I was just like full of resentment. I was full of anger. I didn't want to deal with anything here. But when I came to the point of finding a church and truly understanding and trying to get that point across where it was about a relationship with God, I had an encounter with God, and I remember it was at Faith. I went on the Wednesdays, the Wednesdays. And I had a real deep encounter with God. And I mean, I can't remember the service, but I know that it triggered me because it said, I believe at the time it was Pastor Johnny that was there. He had mentioned something about any shame or any regret or any past grievances that I was holding within inside, to put them all at the cross. Let it there. Let it drop here. Hey, I remember, it was the time where he actually they put a cross up on the stage. He said, "Come here and nail it." And I remember that. Because that was one of the times where I was like, all right, I gotta kill this. I gotta put it to the cross. And if I could,
so that's recently. That's not even like, you talking within the last few years at least.
Yeah, a couple years. I mean, I've lived here. Johnny is 17, so I want to say, when it's been a while since they've been on Goldenrod, right? But it was there. It was in the gym. I remember that, and I was ashamed to still, like, open up to my mom and my dad about it, or my sisters and my brothers. And I really came to that point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give it to God, bro. And I'm going to nail it to this cross, and I'm going to leave it there until it needs to come up again, so it could help someone else, because I know I'm not the only one who went through it.
Nah.
You get what I'm saying? I know I'm not the only one who's going through it. Or if you are going through it, you know what I'm saying? And if you do, I encourage you to have a voice and be bold about it. And it was that moment that I nailed it to the cross, bro. And I said, not anymore. I'm not going to let this carry me. I'm not going to let this weigh me down anymore. And when I nailed it, I dropped, bro. I cried, bro, because it was just something that I needed to let go. Because if not, I was just going to look at everybody like if they were dirtbags. Everybody. And that's why I'm so protective of my nieces, my nephews, my godchildren. I love children, bro. That's one of the things. Gotta protect them. You know what I'm saying? And now I'll just be peeping everybody like, yo, watch where the hands are. You get what I'm saying? And I would never wish that on anyone, on any of their children, on no one's life, because that really corrupted my mind growing up. I saw everything like in a sexual manner, bro. And it was bad, bro. It was bad. Like, I felt perverted all the time. And I encourage anyone who has gone through that, if you don't have that person, go to God with it, bro. Like, I'm being honest. That's what I did. It took years for me, but I finally came to the point where, and we're gonna get into this more, my confession equaled my freedom in that standpoint. So I totally advise anyone who may be going through it or who has gone through it to really take that step forward.
That's solid.
Yeah, man.
I love you. That's dope.
Love you too, man. So I'm excited, bro. I'm excited that we're here, and I'm glad that we can actually touch up on these subjects. And I know that you had some things you wanted to touch up on, and I want to get your thoughts on that. Why'd you agree to talk on this topic? Why'd you agree to talk on childhood traumas? What's things that we can talk about on your end that can, help others with their situations?
Why did I agree? I agreed because I don't just matter. So, for those that don't know, I'm an only child, right? And I've said this in the intro. I have no idea what it's like to have a sibling at all. I have parents that come from a third world country. I'm Guyanese, born and raised in New York, moved to Florida. I love hip hop.
Word.
And art.
Yeah.
And that's not common. That's not a thing.
No.
Growing up, I watched my parents literally try to kill each other. I remember as a kid, I would find these portfolios of pictures before I was born. And there's like a picture of my dad when he had an afro, right? Slim like me. And you know what I'm saying? Little curly hairs right here, open with the joint. And his arms are like this, and my mom is feeding him cake. And then growing up, I never even seen them hold hands. I never seen them kiss. I never seen them hug. I never heard a nickname. I never heard "I love you." I literally only saw violence. And my dad comes from a background in Guyana where, you know, it was just drinking from like 13 years old. I think that's a very relatable topic in many cultures.
Oh, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
especially back, that's just what they do, right? They met in New York, and they were cool. They moved from the Bronx to the Queens, and they had me. But I've never seen what I saw in those photos.
Yeah.
I never see the kisses that I saw in those photos.
Yeah.
And growing up, my dad coming from that background, alcoholism is a big thing.
It is.
They never did any hardcore drugs, thank God. But the amount of alcohol, it's just as damaging, if not more.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now it's more available.
Absolutely.
Fast forward, I've seen everything from them swinging machetes against each other to swinging broken glass.
Wow.
And I'm just a jit. I can't even get in the middle of that. To, this is in New York, right? Like, my dad rushing my mom into another room, and I'm crying, I'm screaming. It's like my voice wasn't even heard. No one ever heard me. They fought so much they never even heard me. The priorities were out of whack. The priorities should have been them, right? God first. And this is when we were Hindu.
Yeah.
So like, already truth isn't there.
Yeah.
But I wasn't even there. I also wasn't there. Rushing her into a corner and stomping her out.
Man.
Like, you ever watch your mom turn into a shrimp? That's what it looked like.
Damn.
A mushed up shrimp.
Wow.
And I can't push this man off.
Yeah, of course.
In fact, when I would try, he would just push me across the room.
Yeah. So what do you do at that point, right?
You continue to cry.
Yeah.
And this carried forward years until I became taller, strong enough to grab his arm, or grab his leg, push him off. And my mom wasn't guilt-free.
No.
She's a tempter.
Yeah.
Right? She was like, do it until it's done, and then it's like, now you can't
do
protect
nothing
yourself.
about it. Yeah.
You know, we moved to Florida, and we cop a new crib. It's our first time. We hoping for brand new beginnings. Cop a new crib.
And how old were you at during this time?
Well, that happened pretty much my whole life, and then when we moved to Florida, I would say that's about like 8th grade.
Okay.
Right, so I'm 32 now.
It's crazy. It's the same time I moved, 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 8th grade, mom is still working in New York. Me and my dad is here trying to make sure that the transition is straight. She was making way more money in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And she comes down, and you know, before you know it, it's the same thing. I'm already in high school at this point.
Yeah.
And the biggest, this was happening already again. The biggest memory I have was I would sleep upstairs. So it was a 2-story joint. And I'm in my room, and I just hear screaming. Well, I'm used to this at this point, right?
Yeah.
But I've still got to be protected.
It's normal.
You know what I mean? I'm running track. I'm not that big. I'm still a slim guy now, but I'm playing a little bit of football, weightlifting team.
Of course, yeah.
Bro, I jumped down this set of stairs to the next set of stairs, come down, and my pops is going in on my mom's face.
Wow.
So I go into the I jump down and I run over to the kitchen. Boom, he's dropped. And this is not me taking pride in it. This is just my testimony.
Yeah, of course.
And I thought I killed my dad.
Wow.
Head hit the tile, blood everywhere.
Wow.
Everywhere. I mean, you talking about like, if you had to talk about a Red Sea, that was the greatest depiction that I could pick. And at this time, we were already Christians, so it was
of course.
just as confusing again.
Yeah.
Dislocated jaw, teeth out of whack.
Wow.
I go into the garage. I'm crying. I thought I killed my pops. He hops in the whip. He goes to the hospital. Boom. And the rest, from that point on, it never happened again because that's when it was done.
It was a stopping point.
Yeah. I didn't know anything else.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Except protect yourself. Be violent. And then as you become an adult, you think that you can be a better drinker. You're hoping that you can beat the odds. And so I was looking up some research here, and I found that based on data from the combined 2009 to 2014 national surveys on drug use and health, about 1 in 8 children, 8.7 million, age 17 or younger, lived in households with at least one parent who had a past year substance use disorder. Kids in that environment are susceptible to inherit those same qualities by 4 to 8%.
Wow.
So I did the math, right? Today I went on worldometer.com, which is a live tracker. So if you were to go on that right now, it's literally counting the numbers of birth by the second.
That's
right?
crazy.
Like it's a live tracker.
Crazy.
So as we speak, already we've surpassed 8 billion people. In my struggle of coping and not knowing what the right outlet looks like and doing this by myself, what looked like I had a resiliency issue, what looked like I was weak, is not just a little issue anymore.
No, it's not.
It's actually way more common than what's spoke about.
Yeah, it's the truth.
And I think this goes back to episode 2, where I was like, I'm nuts. Like, I've been dealing with me longer than you've been dealing with me, you know? But nobody talks about this stuff, and this is hence why we're here. We have the opportunity to do that.
Absolutely.
And a good friend of mine said, it's like we've inherited secrecy. Our parents didn't acknowledge balance and expected us to be normal. Now, whether that's because they were never talked to about it, they don't believe in it. We talk to third world country parents at this point, right?
Yeah, it's true.
It never happened.
Yeah.
Pressure's on us. But if I mess up, I look weak. And so I get the shame. I get the misunderstanding. I get why you could put the guilt on yourself. Nobody knows what to say, who to say, and how to say it.
Nope.
And my mans today actually told me, he said, yo, it's almost like just because we turned out okay and we don't say nothing or they don't hear it, they think they did good.
They think.
That is the most unfair thing. But we have an opportunity by the grace of God. If you got a little bit of... We're it.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
We're it.